Okay, hello everybody. This is Brian, self-proclaimed huge Toy Story fan right here, and just out of nowhere on Twitter I see, Disney Pixar just dropped the Toy Story 4 teaser trailer. Now, obviously I had anticipated that it would be attached to Ralph Breaks the Internet, but that wasn't coming out for like 9 more days or so, and I figured maybe it would be put out a little bit earlier than that, but yeah, they just went ahead and uploaded it right now. So ideally, I would like to wait and see it in the theater, get like the full experience. But I'm bound to see some images of it or something by now. Just already, like a bunch of people have texted me like, "Oh, have you seen? Of course you've seen it. You're the Toy Story guy. You must have seen it by now." So no, I haven't. So I might as well take advantage of it being put up online by recording a reaction to it, which is not something that I typically do. But this is Toy Story, so I'm gonna do it. Let me just load it up right here. I'm curious to see what the animation looks like. How much it's because it hasn't really been too many. It's not like a similar situation to like Finding Dory's trailer or Incredibles 2's trailer, where it's been like over a decade since the last one. Like we've seen not only since Toy Story 3 came out in 2010, which I mean, geez, it'll have been 9 years since that. That had come out, so that actually is a pretty long time. But in the interim, we've had the Toy Story tunes and the TV specials. But like, geez, my life has changed so much since then. I was in middle school when Toy Story 3 came out, and by the time that Toy Story 4 is out, I'll have officially had my college graduation ceremony. So yeah, pretty crazy. So all right, without further ado, I think it's time to watch this. Interesting music. Very different.
Flows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feathered canyons everywhere. I've looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the
let's say it ripped on Rick Wolf.
They rain and snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way.
A little easier than the last time they held hands in the incinerator.
Now, from up and down, and still somehow it's clouds' illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds.
Oh, who is this?
I don't belong here! The panic is attacking me! Oh boy! Yeah, I'm pounding. I'm not a toy! Hey, somebody get him before he pokes an eye out.
Intriguing. Okay. So alright, so then clearly that's then a new character for the fourth film. Seems to be some sort of like, was it like a spork? That's then been able to come to life? Okay. So maybe what we're delving into is that Bonnie, with her creative imagination, has essentially made her own toy, which then comes to like just clearly very makeshift with like like the pipe cleaners and the googly eyes and whatnot. So, and then it comes to life as well, which is not maybe something that there's really much of a precedent for. But then again, I mean, toys they're man-made, so I mean, like pretty much anyone could then do it when you then think about it in theory. But like a child doing it is so it's interesting. So I guess that would then explain kind of the anxiety of this character who's like insisting that they're not a toy. And wow, okay, very interesting. So this doesn't really hint at the Bo Peep angle or anything really having to do with that plot. We got our classic Toy Story clouds in the background, of course, but yeah, that is that is not what I expected. I am very, very intrigued as to where then the story is going to go now, because it's a question as to whether or not you know, how much it's going to stick with this whole like storyline of Woody and Buzz going out to try to find where Bo Peep is at this point, because I know that they've like rewritten the script very much, but Annie Potts, voice actress of Bo Peep, has then still said that then, you know, she has a big part to play and that she's thrilled. So I don't think they've like thrown out that angle entirely, but like, yeah, interesting. I would have thought maybe they would hint at it here. So yeah, wow, I'm really, really intrigued, and most of all, just happy that now they finally set in stone, like, okay, this is the release date, we're not delaying it again. This movie, it was going to come out in 2017, guys. I heard about it in my senior year of high school. So it's officially, like, no backing out now. We have the trailer. It's coming out next summer. So that's good to know. But yeah, wow, I'm really curious as to where this is going to go, because they haven't really delved much into like sort of the, I don't want to say like mythology, but the way like the rules of toyhood and like what comes to life and what doesn't, like how that works, which it seems like they're going to kind of get a little bit, maybe like a little existential here. So yeah, I'm really, really intrigued. Great to see that Mr. Potato Head is still there. And Mrs. Potato Head, of course, because I was thinking, if they write out Mr. Potato Head, it'd be weird if Mrs. Potato Head is just around. So I don't know if it's hard to tell. Like you could hear like all of the characters when they start screaming and like knocking into each other. If they use like Don Rickles' archival recordings, I'm gonna go back now and see. I think we hear a specific slowed down scream. That might be the Mr. Potato Head one. We like hear unmistakably Estelle Harris's scream as Mrs. Potato Head, which I'm really happy for her that then she gets to be in another one of these, because she in interviews for Toy Story 3 was just so enthusiastic about like wanting to be in another one. So yeah, well, I mean, the gang's all here. We did, like, I guess, like, out of the returning Toy Story 3 like, I mean, they just have one alien there instead of, like, 3, and, like, Bullseye isn't here, but, like, I mean, presumably they'll all be back. Didn't choose to showcase any of Bonnie's toys either, which is interesting. So, yeah, they're focusing on kind of, like, the classic cast from all the films. But yeah, all right. You know, I think I really, I'm like trying to analyze as much as I can what I can get out of this very short, out of context glimpse. So yeah, all right. I'm very excited, and you can definitely be sure to check with me as I then continue to react to everything about this movie's production. Because geez, I thought there would never be a movie I would look forward to more than Toy Story 3, but now we get another Toy Story, and I didn't think we'd ever get one, so I'm super excited. Okay, so I also see that we got some more plot details in the description of the video, and that the character's name is officially Forky. So here, I just want to read this. Woody has always been confident about his place in the world, and that his priority is taking care of his kid, whether that's Andy or Bonnie. But when Bonnie adds a reluctant new toy called Forky to her room, a road trip adventure alongside old and new friends will show Woody how big the world can be for a toy. So, very, very interesting in that, again, that doesn't say anything about Bo Peep. Like, I mean, the closest you could say is that, like, it hints at old friends, but that could just be, you know, our returning cast that we've already seen the glimpse of in this trailer. But this is oddly similar. So, okay, so whenever I talk about what I would think that I might do with Toy Story 4, I think you have to then get back to the core of, like, Woody's beliefs and questioning, like, how much further that they can develop. Because there's, and I'll do a separate video about this at some point, but kind of like the core lessons of the entire Toy Story series are established right at that very first staff meeting in the first movie, which is when Woody says, hey, listen, no one's getting replaced. This is Andy we're talking about, which that then kind of covers basically the general thrust of the plot of the first movie, which is then Woody having then his anxiety about if Buzz will then replace him as Andy's new favorite toy. And then Woody goes on to say, it doesn't matter how much we're played with, which Toy Story 2 then gets into everything about, being stuck on a shelf or being mint in the box forever or behind glass in a museum, like not being played with much at all. So, and they kind of come to terms with, when it all ends, that, they'll have each other to keep them company. So it doesn't matter how much they're played with. And then Woody continues by saying, what matters is that we're here for Andy when he needs us. And of course, Toy Story 3, then, it kind of then directly recalls this staff meeting with another staff meeting, in which Woody then echoes the same words of it. The job isn't about getting played with, it's about, and then Jesse finishes, being there for Andy we know, which Woody has forgotten the crucial piece of information that is when he needs us, which he doesn't need them anymore. Now Bonnie needs them. So that's then kind of how that progressed. So it seems like everything's covered from that whole spiel, except for one thing. So I always say that then if Toy Story 4 is to continue this story, it has to address the next thing that Woody says, which is, that's what we're made for, right? And get kind of more existential about like everyone's sort of place in this world, and whether or not like that's really then their entire purpose, or if there's something more to it. And this is like oddly enough directly in line